So the goal for one is to just like Brody, I lowered the temperature. Why'd that cause the AC to turn off? Whatever. The goal is twofold. The goal for one is to beat hardcore Minecraft because I've never done it. So that's the goal for one. The goal for two is to I'm getting so distracted. The goal for two is this is meant to be an exercise for actually though. That's the goal. Is this is meant to be an exercise for thinking, for not necessarily thinking, but commentary. Because if you watch someone like NorthernLion, like I think having a chat that you can rely on is a crutch that you only get once you're a certain level of streamer, which I'm not at. And so instead I need to just work the muscle that is the brain to be able to do raw commentary shit otherwise in silence. So that's low-key the goal. So we're doing hardcore Minecraft. It's gonna be no outside music, yes to Minecraft music. So yeah, so as I said, this is meant to be partially also an exercise in commentary and like kind of silence and commentary. My FOV feels weird. All right, let me just settle on settings and stick with it. Because I think it is very admirable the way a lot of other commentary YouTubers can just like do shit and just like pure commentate. Well, not like commentary YouTubers, because I feel like modern commentary YouTubers are kind of like a different breed. I more mean like video game, like old style Let's Plays and shit. Because like it is admittedly impressive to be able to just fill hours on end. And like I don't have that same ability. And I think realistically some of that ability is required in order to quote unquote make it. Some leaf litter. Easy. I was thinking about like old Paul Soares Jr. Minecraft and how I think what he provided was certainly more than just Minecraft gameplay, at least from my memory of him. It's admittedly been a while since I watched him. But I think a lot of the great aspects of of his videos were the fact that it was like somewhat relaxing, not somewhat, definitely relaxing to those that consumed the content. Or like if you look at NorthernLion, because NorthernLion, it's like you listen to his streams and there's some, I don't know the term. It's not quite mise en scène, because that's not quite the correct application of it. But something intangible about the nature of the thing they're making, or it's just like soothing in a way. Gosh, why did that scare me? Or it's just soothing in a way. And of course NorthernLion's a bit different than PSJ, because even though they're both old dads, NorthernLion is talking about human centipede and if a human centipede could take down a gorilla. But I digress. It's just something satisfying about having gameplay with relatively little like distractions and shit, which I think people are more drawn to, at least for NorthernLion, because of the fact that like it serves such stark contrast to a lot of the other shit that's currently popular online. And by that I just mean like brain rot. Like I have a friend who I hung out with yesterday, and no shade to her, because I love her very dearly, but she was saying how she would frequently watch TikToks at 2x speed. Now that is batshit crazy to me, because not only does TikTok kind of lead into the brain degeneracy as a whole because of the inherent nature of the swiping app and the formula of it. I think also the fact to then on top of that be sometimes two timing that shit, that blows me away. I think I don't know. I get annoyed by the people who are like, oh, attention spans are so much in decline. But I think that's perhaps my annoyance comes from the fact that I haven't had that issue as much, I would say. I feel like my attention span started plummeting years ago, and then it stabilized once I started getting medicated for ADHD. So, like, is it as much of an issue now? Not really. I feel like I've also been able to stay largely away from... like, brain rot shit. Like, the only short form content I consume is I maybe watch 5 to 10 minutes at most of YouTube shorts a day. And it'll be like, because I see one that's like in the normal home feed, I'll see one that's recommended that's like either funny or like interesting, and I'll be like, here's the time that Wolverine gave up his claws in order to save a baby child. And I'll be like, huh, what's that about? So I'll watch it. And like, that's about the extent of it. I'll scroll for a bit afterwards. And then it's like, okay. Like, I'm not doing anything. And I don't like that. So I'm gonna go do something. But I think I've been largely... I mean, I wouldn't doubt that my attention span is still probably shot compared to, or like on a wider societal scale. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. Or like, just the fact that it has. Because like, yeah, I'll find myself sitting down, going to watch a YouTube video, getting bored, like 5 minutes in. What the fuck is that noise? But I think like relatively compared to the average person my age, I would guess that I have a better attention span. Do I think that? I don't know if I think that, actually. I think a better attention span when it comes to consumption of media. Perhaps. I don't know if that's true. I think maybe compared to other people my age in a similar amount of time spent on internet or consuming content, I have a better attention span. Like, if you're on the apps that normally implies dating apps. If you're on social media video creation apps, if you're on slop apps and you're consuming stuff, I think the average person my age is just raw hits the swipe content. The what would it be? The TikToks, the Instagram Reels, the Instagrams. Like, my only vice with social media is Twitter. Now, that's no small vice. I'm not saying that. But I think that all things considered, there's less, like, raw, huge influx of stimuli into my brain from it compared to other things. Or compared to some other apps. What was I saying? I don't remember. I think just like the raw, like, attention economy is not good. And I realize I'm certainly not the first to say that. But like the way it's kind of taken a huge hand on people. But so my point being is that I feel like there's certainly a market for not that. There's certainly things that try to counter it in their own ways, like YouTube New Wave. But that only catches one niche audience, all things considered. And, or one niche. People who say it as niche are actually kind of psychos, low-key. But, that's like kind of just the lifestyle more of things. I think there's like an uncharted, relatively uncharted realm for like the gaming. I don't know. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke up my own ass. Like, I think a lot of YouTube New Wave, it's like, it kind of gets preachy. And that's fine. I'm certainly not one who's never done preachiness before. But, like, I think that it, leaves itself open to some, I don't know, negative possibilities, perhaps? Or, like, it kind of is somewhat isolating of consumers in its own way. Actually, this is just a better area to start the farm. Because, like, core is perhaps a better example of, like, the meeting in the middle. Because a lot of core is just, like, not pure nonsense, but not necessarily trying to, or not directly trying to promote anything, any certain lifestyle. Perhaps maybe one that is devoid of a lot of the, like, chaos of contemporary internet. I think it's also just so easy, or I don't know. I need to build the muscle that is the endless rambling, because I can do it in response to stimuli, but that's admittedly a limitation. More so a limitation in the short term than a limitation in the long term. I'll admit, but still a limitation. There's a sense of whimsy that I feel like I lack in comparison to someone like Paul Soares Jr. or some of the older Minecraft content creators. God, you guys are ferocious. You know that? You're really something.